Timber, and that's kind of it, right? Like, what else does it really offer here?
I have no idea. The last time, I mean, I guess I've seen it a couple times in Dota 2, but it's a Dota 1 kind of memory. It's an ancient thing, you know? Yeah. Like back in the day, you would mid Bane, you would mid Lion, Lich, and AA. And actually Shadow Demon started out as a mid hero. But I'm not sure. I mean, it owns Timbersaw like later in the game, I suppose, because you get the fast levels. So I do like that.
I'm curious about the lane matchup. I feel like on paper, Ember does okay here. As soon as he's level 3 and gets 2 in Flame Guard, you can't break it with Chilling Touch. So every time he puts it on, then he has to Chilling Touch and Cold Feet. And even that, Kasani can maybe outlast or outrun anyway. He can dodge the snap with Sleight of Fist. There's plenty of plays for Ember in that mid lane. I think the lane to watch is top, to be honest. It's when you put Batrider support, you're looking for immediate value in the early laning stage, and Timber hates this matchup, so that's a good start. They put this bat not against the Naga, and it kind of offsets the problem that Lycan has against Timber as well, because he's now protected, so to speak. Because this lane is usually horrible for Lycan. Playing against Timber is one of the worst matchups you can have, which makes it even more interesting that they picked it into it, right?
Yeah.
But they saw a plan there.
Phonic did 7 sticky napalms, but he's going to be fine just because the fact that Disruptor Pushka, who's now eating up the sticky napalms himself, very good support hero, of course, to have in lane. Courier actually almost dies here. The Baboon from Batrider, but looks like it will limp away safely. So you think the first blood will occur in this lane?
I think it will occur bottom, probably. It actually should have. I think LeBron's Fissure was good enough, but he failed the body block on Clinks. Chen needed like 2 more attacks, but he kind of let him through by mistake. So they could have got it bought. Yeah, it's probably the most likely lane for me. Unless, well, Spartan.
Yep, kinetic field holds him in, and Phonic is able to finish him off.
I love this approach from Timbersaw in this lane. You know, when you're playing against Lycan, it's very tempting to get reactive armor, just so the wolves don't threaten you at all. But they've made the call that, well, if the wolves start attacking me, I'm just going to nuke them down with my 2 pure damage spells, right? And this gives them so much more kill potential in the bat, where having armor against bat doesn't actually really matter. What he kills you with is magic damage, so you can just max out these nukes and bully him out of the lane. And Spartan, he had 2 salves. He didn't get to use either of them. He just died from 2/3 HP.
Yeah, and looking at the early CS, Timbersaw's off to a pretty good start. Pretty much a wash between him and Lycan, but on the other side, the Naga Siren is slightly ahead, so pushing out the lane. In fact, getting Skylark down to a very low amount, as Roger is trying to zone as much as possible, as Earthshaker is ready to fissure. But well, we might see a killer on Skylark. A lot of damage being applied by Roger and his arrows, but not wanting to go any further because of the fissure potential. Talking about AAs, he's going to get off a Cold Feet, and it will not proc. What the hell do you buy on this hero? Like, is there anything special? Like, do you go Ags at some point? But I don't know. I haven't really seen too much of the right click type AA, but it does have potential in theory.
I think if you look at the strategy that they were playing, they want to win in the mid game, right? So you probably buy some sort of utility. You could buy Greaves or Pipe or something, some sort of aura timing where your whole lineup comes together. I think the most successful mid AA I've seen has been No One in, I want to say, like a month or 2 ago. VP played it as part of a 5-man strat, and he rushed Greaves, I think. There may be a place for Necro Book. I'm not 100% sure if Necro AA is a thing.
Have you seen the Ags, the newer Ags?
I think I've had it myself. It's kind of meh most of the time. But if you're core, maybe it works. Like you get enough.
That's what I'm thinking. Like when it comes to the Aghanim being changed, obviously the old one was very, very powerful with the Ice Blast and whatnot. But if you're playing a core, Ags makes a lot of sense, I feel like, because then you actually can scale a little bit better into the late game. But it's still about, does AA get to just stand and deliver in fights? You have no mobility. You have pretty weak base stats compared to a lot of other heroes. So like,
Usually ranged carries in games, what they do is they have some sort, either they have a mobility spell of their own, or they buy Pike, right? Or Force Staff, or whatever, or BKB, so that they can stand and deliver their damage. In this game, if you go Ags on AA, I think the Ember and Timber just jump on you and you die. You can't reset in any possible way, so yeah, that's my concern with going that route, is you're just susceptible.
You'd need a few items before that at the very least, but I can hope Cinderin. It is a fun item in practice, actually. I don't know how good it is, like you said. Kaysani at half HP right now. 22 and 12 versus the A, 17 and 7. He's getting chased, yep. Spartan, Timber Chain to the face, gets a Fairy Fire off the Pushka. Looks like he will find it with that last proc, the Thunderstrike there. Or the new proc, in fact.
It feels really bad when you're playing 5 bad and you lose your lane. Let me just say that. That's a rough one. It's one of the harder heroes to feel impactful on if the first 5 minutes don't go well on your support bat.
Yeah. Definitely here you want to get off to a good start. I wonder what he's early TP here from Spartan.
He's just refilling Dendy's bottle.
Okay.
I don't know if going Flame Break level 3 is good here. But, like, his lane matchup is awkward. Usually 5 bat, what you really want is you want to carry in the lane that can fight with you. Okay, they're going to go blast. It's just going to blink away. Okay. So if you're playing 5 bat, I've actually played this a fair bit myself. I love the hero, and I think part of the strength of it is that it can play multiple roles. But if you're babysitting a hero that offers you nothing in return in terms of fighting, right? You want to play aggressive and then look for kills or bully the enemies out. He's on an island in this game. Lycan can't help him at all. So he's kind of 1v2 against Timber Disruptor in terms of aggression, and it just doesn't really work that well. If you imagine his carry in the lane had like a stun or a slow, suddenly it's a totally different story where you can skill Flame Firefly and you can try to run people down and get kills. But yeah, Lycan's just, he's just there. And his wolves aren't even good because he's against Timber. So it's tough.
He is technically there. LeBron has TP support in this top lane. A blast coming in. It doesn't look like it's going to connect on anybody though. So that might just end this rotation from LeBron, as Funnick looks to be super okay at the current point in time. Yeah, you're right. The Bat Rider does feel a little bit awkward here. I mean, what do you think was going through in terms of the draft? Do you think AA was actually the plan all along? Like these specific roles? You mentioned the Chen. Was it did it feel like one of those times where you're kind of panicking in the draft a bit to figure out the roles of each respective player?
I don't know. Like this Timber was first phased, so they had plenty of time to prepare, right? I think Dendy just loves this mid AA and wants to make it work. So I don't think that's too surprising. The Bat Rider they may have picked originally as a flex pick, and then they just identified, okay, the matchup against Naga is not that great. We could just put it on support and ensure it gets against the Timber, which is fine. But then the Lycan last pick is really the problem. This is a good fissure from LeBron.
Yeah, terrific dust to start off, but Funnick will be here. Roger.
He's actually going to
look like the dust is about to dissipate, in fact, so Spartan might be finding out of my grave yet again. Timberchain comes in with a beautiful Chen ult 5, so Clinks did fall eventually, and the Chakram will not be enough to finish off the Spartan. And he's going to health salve up. Funnick. Not a whole lot of mana to speak of, but Soaring is coming back. Excalibur pops his ult. Baby Timberchain, if you want to call it, but a huge Q overall from Funnick, but at the end of the day, 5 sticky napalms. They're finally able to get this really tanky Timber Saw. Yeah.
2 kills. Big rotation from them, but even if this turns out to be like a draw or whatever, just getting the ball rolling, you shouldn't underestimate how much that matters, especially if you're a team that's struggling in general. Just finding some sort of success in the game so that you keep the momentum and get something done is really important. And yeah. Good Ice Blast from Dendy, clipping the Clinks, got them the first kill, and then Lycan reached level 6 and could pop a Shapeshift.
A little update on the CS, I suppose. Nagasine 65 and 7, Lycan 41 and 7. Quite the discrepancy overall. I mean, it shouldn't be too surprising considering the lane setup that we saw, and the fact that Bat Rider ended up feeding away a couple kills there to open things up for Timbersaw. But in terms of comeback potential for Lycan, what are your thoughts on this hero if you're a little bit behind?
I think it's okay to be a little bit behind as long as you really use your first timing. And for Lycan, that's usually when you either hit Necrobook or Dom. He's going Necrobook first. So now when Shapeshift is ready, I would love to see him make an aggressive rotation that results in probably the bottom tower. The way you try to set this up is by having the Batrider face the Timber and put pressure on him in one lane, and then you can make the move in the other lane. I think Batrider has to get experience in this game. I don't think running around and playing him as a true 5 is going to work very well. Like, Chen needs to yield, give some space to Bat, just go jungle or whatever, and then when you want to push, you send Chen there. But I'm not too happy with their map split right now, right? It's 10 minutes in, your Bat's level 4, and your Shaker's level 3. That's rough.
Well, the 10-minute mark is upon us, my friend. So some experience will be coming their way. Thanks.
Yeah, it's usually a mark of trouble when you reach minute 10 and both heroes need the tome, right? You usually want one support to really need it, but like you look at the Radiant side, right? Disruptor level 6. He doesn't need the tome, so the tome can go to Clinks and he can get level 6. On the Dire, you need to pick your poison. Do you want a Batrider that doesn't have Lasso? Do you want a Shaker that doesn't have Echo? Ideally, you split the map in a way such that when you hit this timing, one of them is either 6 or close to 6, or doesn't need 6. Batrider right now, he will take the
smoke right now. Yeah, it's going to be LeBron, level 4. Obviously not the main target they would have liked to find. They actually just passed by Lycan in the jungle. But, you know, they'll take the free kill. And actually a counter smoke here from Bait. Spartan now level 6. I believe he's the one that had the tome, right? I would assume, considering Earthshaker is level 4. So Lasso is available. A Blast is coming in. Canenfield nicely played here to block everybody off, but the Pushka still might find its way to the grave as Excalibur. Okay, they will find it with the Wolves, and he is working on Necro 2, about to finish that.
It's just not good enough. Like, Shapeshift and Necro book pop to kill the position 5, while there's a Naga free farming and a midwave that's pushing into your tower. This is not a high impact play. You have to look for something bigger on the enemy side of the map to gain space. You have a level 8 Chen with a Dom creep. He really wants to push. Play around him. He's the strength of your lineup right now. Skylark should not be on an island down here getting killed off, but really using the hero to his strength. So he's actually gonna maybe die here.
And that's a lot of...
It's a rip time finally. Those two.
Good lord. Able to get it off. Alright, Fissure blocking in the Naga Siren. Does have Song of the Siren though.
Oh no, Ice Plus is gonna...
AA Blast actually gets cancelled essentially as a result of this song, and he's gonna TP out to safety. So lots of rotations, and they ended up not being able to get anything out of it other than a use of Song.
Right. And now Bait is bottom, right? But now the Chen is gone, and your Lycan doesn't have Shapeshift. So this push can possibly be repelled by Timber, or they can just make their own move.
Lycan, snared up. He's actually just going to TP out in the face of danger. And we'll be able to do so.
Surprised Kazani didn't save his chains there. They just went in and committed. Lycan at this point in the time doesn't have boots. So you can kind of just run him down with Timber and Ember.
Phonic TP's bot lane to try to take out as many creeps as he can, but still 4 remain. AA Blast will connect. I think he's bit off a little bit too much, as he will likely die here and shatter to Dendi. So despite this kind of being orchestrated from Bates, having so many heroes in the bot lane, this fight will continue though. Static Storm upon 2. Looks like they'll find the trade in the Dendi mid AA. And now LeBron gets off the enchant totem, getting a little bit low on HP. Do they have enough to follow this up with? Finally, a lasso is used into an enchant totem, and they do get the kill on Ember Spirit. So with that, a 2-for-1 trade for Bait. As Pushka might find his way as well. Echo Slam is used mostly for the stun, if nothing else. Spartan trying to get as much slows as possible. And it looks like they will finally get this 3rd kill. Takes a while, but they find a tier 1 tower as well. So that was overall a pretty good fight for Bait.
Oh, Roger. Thinking about going on LeBron here, but needs backup. Nobody's there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's some of the good stuff, right? It still feels like it was a bit... The pacing of it's a little bit slow, and we have to remember there's a Naga free farm on the other side of the map, but it's some of the right idea here. Just quickly punishing the Timber, who goes up to defend alone. If you had him any backup there, that's a different story. But he tried to solo defend, they kill him off, they pile on the tower, and get it done.
Yeah, it felt like Phonic was playing very cocky, as if he was unable to be killed at all.
It's a good death if it defends his tower, but yeah, it didn't, so it wasn't very good.
Well, not a good death. Yeah,
Phonic has this tendency, I would say, when he plays this Timber in some of their games, that he feels a little bit too invincible at times.
It's a common trait amongst Timber sub players, I feel.
Oh, nice job.
But sometimes you are invincible.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to gauge that balance.
That shouldn't surprise you too much that you're not invincible against AA minute 13, though. That's kind of...
Yeah.
Everybody
AA
knows
is definitely a good hero. He does have Hood finished on Funnick. I believe he had that during his death. We'll be going for a Yule Scepter now. So no huge surprises in terms of itemization. Roger continuing to try to scout a little bit. Sentry will find him, but
Dust on bad.
no Dust to follow it up. Dust is on LeBron.
Oh, Necro 3.
Necro Book is out.
He's gonna eat it. Nicely done.
LeBron still not in range for the Dust. We'll try to get a blind one. Good attempt, but a little ambitious.
Oh, he's playing with them so bad. That's like the
5 heroes are chasing him. Right?
Oh, he's gonna break a smoke.
Now he's gonna pop a smoke. Oh my. That is so bad.
It's like,
and they're out of smoke. He knows.
That's like an old Greek tragedy. You just... Oh my goodness.
Describe it.
Middle tower
I don't know who the hero is, but if it's anybody on bait, that's a tragedy. No matter who is in the story.
Well, their whole team was there. So
oh my god. It just hurts to watch, because you can tell how frustrated they must be in that moment, right? Like, they're like, fuck, it didn't work. All right, we're gonna smoke and head out, and then it still breaks the smoke.
I mean, is it just me? It feels like Bait is kind of just running together a lot, and they're not playing the map as efficiently as they could be, especially with a Lycan on the team.
Right, they were running together too much right here, and then earlier when they really wanted to go together with Lycan and Chen, they didn't do it. So it's like a bit of a disconnect. At least I don't agree with their timing in this game, how they've played the strength of their heroes. I think they've missed it, and it's only going to get harder. Lasso,
Pushka, still pretty healthy. AA Blast will connect. He's going to attempt to TP out, and nope, Fissure is there, and down he goes. But it's a 1-for-1 as Dendi dies in the mid lane. My goodness,
anytime he gets
a great trade for HellRaisers. Roger getting chased by the Lycan. Of course, it's a port Clink, so not the worst loss in the world. It's a 2-for-1 in the end, but it's across multiple lanes.
You gotta get this mid tower now. You committed so much. If you can't get the tower here, it feels pretty bad. And I don't know if they can. Now Timber can frontline. AA is dead for another 10 seconds, so Funnick doesn't care about anything. Now they're gonna run them down one by one.
Skylark, oh, nice Fissure though, blocking them off, and that will actually save his life. Is that a Spirit Vessel? I do believe it is. On the Ember Spirit.
Yep.
Being used to full effect. Echo Slam is going to keep Funnick in place, but they don't have a lot of damage to follow it up with other than Dendi's ult, which finally comes through. Song of Siren to follow. Funnick, don't think he's going to shatter as is. We'll get the Chakram in place. Lots of 3 heroes. There's a heal from Chen, but this is going to be the death of 2 heroes on Bait's side. Funnick will trade. No, he will survive despite all these creeps attacking him. And that is a double kill for Nyx as 3 dead. Make it for Dendi, just dying left, right, and center, and all they lose is a Disruptor, Synderen. That was after everyone else had already died.
Yeah. Oof. It's just, you're seeing the weakness of the AA, right? In these fights, like Dendi he needs a wall in front of him. I think for AA to feel impactful in fights, you need to be the initiator. You need Lasso, you need Shaker, Stun into Shapeshift, and then AA can ulti, stand in the back, and deliver some damage. But every time he gets even the slightest bit out of position, he just dies. They catch him with Ember, he's killed. Now he has a Yule, so he can delay his death a little bit, but it just feels like he's gonna fall down and die. He's gonna
a little bit greedy, trying to kill that tomato the whole time, but doesn't matter. Dust is wasted again. They really need Spartan Blinker, and I know he's support, but it feels like they have no catch. Like Lycan can chase people. I mean, Earthshaker as well, I guess, either one. He's closer to the Blink, of course. It just feels like everyone just runs away. Clinks is just getting dusted and still living. That can't happen. And in fact, Roger is going towards the death zone now, so...
Yeah. That's a bit of a greedy build on a 4 Clinks, but at the same time, I mean, he has so much freedom in this game. There's tons of damage on Naga and Ember, so I feel like Clinks could consider some team utility of some sort. Pretty damn good 4-staff game, for example, but this way, obviously, the damage will keep coming in.
Oh, LeBron rooted in place. Gonna take a lot of right clicks, and he gets taken out very quickly. Lycan pops the ult. And see if they can actually get a kill out of this. Funnick will be fine. Song of the Siren catches 2. Chakram was just used, so it's going to be on cooldown a little bit longer. Not able to cover this up as they would like, but Static Storm is there. Not able to hold him in place with the kinetic field. Skylark will go down the right clicks eventually. So 2 dead. Dendi again does get his Ice Blast off, but to little to no avail. So 3 for nothing again, as HellRaisers are just winning basically every single engagement. Every single trade this game has felt pretty positive. as they have a 10k.
I don't think they have lost the fight. Even the fight where they got lost 2-0 on kills, they still got more gold out of the map at the same time. There hasn't like been a sequence where we were like, okay, bait gained ground in the game there. It doesn't, at least it didn't feel like that to me at any point, that there was that moment where like, okay, now the timing's going to kick in. I think you're already in kind of YOLO territory where you need to pop all your stuff, run at them, and hope for the best. Like, if you're just going to keep playing as you have so far, it's not good enough. You need to initiate a fight where everything is ready and you get the jump. And obviously, ideally they do it while Naga is on the other side of the map. Because Song of the Siren can always just interrupt their entire combo, right? Like, you pop shapeshift, you run at them. If Naga has ult, she can just ult, and then... Yeah. Your Lycan used everything. It's actually a really nice counterpick in that regard, because the duration is long enough that you can create enough of a gap to Lycan with the rest of your team that you can negate shapeshift. And Lycan without shapeshift is just weak. It's not a very strong hero.
I think pretty much every pickoff that Bait is able to get, like even that kill, it required, well, I don't know if it required it, but there were 4 heroes in the vicinity. So they're not spreading out at all. Like you were talking about, even in the lost fights for HellRaisers, they're getting more gold out of the map, just being more efficient in every single way right now.
A very large part of this lineup, right? That's one of the huge weaknesses of mid AA. It doesn't have wave clear. Like it's not effective at putting pressure on the map. So that's why you don't traditionally see this hero in a core role. This is obviously a huge weakness for a core hero to not be able to push waves. On the other side, you have Naga, awesome at pushing waves, Timber, awesome at pushing waves, and Ember, awesome at pushing waves. So you're just constantly being pressured. And whenever you're getting shoved into this hard into all your lanes, making aggressive moves gets really difficult when you don't get any sort of control in any area of the map. That's why it was great to see them take this bottom tower, but they haven't really done anything with that area of the map since. They haven't revisited the bottom part and taken some sort of control somewhere.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
They're scouting things out here for his team. Funny, cold feet applied. Should be good to go. Actually, doesn't get cold feeted or footed or foot up, whatever you want to call it. It'll cause Bad Rider die though. Doesn't even matter that it applied. As here's the static storm on top of Lycan. Won't even be able to pop that ult, and Bait are just falling apart. Dendi glimpsed back into death. And yeah, this one's pretty stompy at this point. Chen looks to be next on the list, so it's going to be a 4 for nothing with pretty much no damage being applied by the HellRaisers. Exo Slam is there onto 2. That's the Blink Dagger reveal. Able to take out the Clinks. Ember will follow. So a nice turnaround here from Bait. It did require 2 buybacks though. And
that was about as good a salami as you're going to get, and it's still...
Still not enough.
They still lost on that big time from having to buy back Dendi and the Bat. And yeah, you get these kills, but they also get return kills. I know I'm painting a really bleak picture for them, but man, like, the game is what it is, right? If there isn't much good stuff to talk about for them, we can't really, like, we can't pretend or make up amazing stuff that isn't happening. If you're playing a timing lineup like this, you need to play more aggressively than they have. You have to take chances. You have to play to win, not play to be in the game, right? I think it's something the panel has talked about in previous series with Bait. I actually think it was more or less that exact wording, that Bait is just, they're not playing to win, they're playing to not lose or something like that. It doesn't, unless you have a strategy that specifically thrives in that environment, you're gonna lose more or less every game anyway. By slow playing. If you pick temporal lineups and you slow play, like what are you playing for? What's the goal of the game? And for me, the biggest letdown in this game is that they really didn't use their Chen. Is my 2 cents. Like, I just didn't feel it at all. You imagine a team like OG when they had 33 as the stand-in on this Chen. You know what they're gonna do when he has the helm of the Dominator. They're gonna pile up somewhere and they're gonna put on that pressure. And he's just stranded for like 5 minutes in the bot lane with nobody aiding him and doing anything aggressive. So, and for HellRaisers, they're just, they're playing the map. They're farming all 3 lanes. They're finding lots of good fights with their Disruptor and Timber. And Ember, of course. And they have the late game secured with a super farm Naga Siren.
Yeah, she has the Diffusal, Manta, and Scotty, which I finally get to see Scotty. The negative regeneration, which won't really matter. I guess it will with Channel potentially. like, how long does it last, the Scotty? Is it 3 seconds?
Oh, that's a good question. Yes, 3 seconds.
Yeah, so you have to attack pretty fast to get multiple heroes with that. But Funnick, he's going to be found by Skylark, or is it the other way around? I'm not sure. He's in an entire zoo with them, including a disgusting tomato. But on the other side, we have a lasso upon Disruptor. That's a nice start here for Bait in this fight. They're going to surround Roger as well, so it's a 2-for-0 to start it. The buyback onto the Disruptor as AA getting focused down, gets off his blast, but the Song of the Sirens saves him temporarily.
Static Storm.
An attempt to set something out. Yeah, Static Storm into Kinetic Field onto 2. As the Timbersaw will likely try to finish off Den. The Bat Rider is going to be the first to fall in this Kinetic Field. And looks like the chase is on Dendy himself. This is what, I mean, it's not technically a dieback, but he did recently buy back. So on the deck for a very long time. As now Skylark will find its way to the fountain as well. So a 4-for-1. If you include the buybacks, 4-for-2. And I do believe with that Aegis, they can just high ground. Probably just... Man, it feels like HellRaisers is going about their motions, right? They're not rushing anything. They're just taking what is given to them, which in this game is pretty much everything.
Nothing wrong with playing a stable game and not getting too crazy. Good things can be said about, you know, just pushing and trying to end the game to show like dominance or showing that you have a really good understanding of how strong you are, but at the same time, if you know that every minute is a bigger win for you, there's nothing wrong with playing it stable. So yeah, I would be happy with either. If they want to play a little bit more map control, take the 2 outer towers and just shut them down, that's also fine. Like, all the cooldowns will be ready for the Dire again, so it's not like a no-brain, just push high ground. They don't have any spells kind of thing. Shapeshift is coming off, Bat Lasso is coming off, only Channel is missing.
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Very true. Yule Scepter, Kinetic Field, Spartan is likely dead. Just needs a little bit of follow-up here. Actually pops his Firefly, but dies nonetheless. So 40 seconds without your Bat Rider, but of course he still doesn't have any sort of initiation itemization. It's Song of Siren onto 2. This could be a huge Kinetic Field, Static Storm, and it is, and this will end the game. As Big's position 1 and 2 will swiftly fall, and now the Rax will follow.
But is the AA position 2? That's the question.
True.
Now it gets philosophical.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, I guess it depends on your definition of position 2. Like the way that I look at it, Cinder, and I know this might not be aligned with the pros. If you start in the mid lane as a solo, you are position 2 regardless if you have the worst farm in the game. But I know that's a little bit off. Echo Slam into the GG! LeBron Dota loses the game. That's the hell.
You made it sound like it's his fault. LeBron lost the game.
No.